Your Honorable Ken Salazar, Miguel Gonzalez, and distinguished guests. Human life, our existence, is full of contrasts and paradoxes. And as we sit here today in these surroundings, we are reminded of some contrasts and paradoxes of our lives. And I'm not referring to the paradoxical offense that some veterans may take when we look at the Latin root of the word veteran, veteranus, which literally means old, something long in use, advanced in years, or someone of a former time. I refer to looking around us. We have the dark greens and the dark browns of the trees and bushes and grass, in contrast with the white monuments and gravestones. We have a monument to the unknown, when what humans long for is to be known and to be called by name. The paradox and contrast that we humans were born to live, yet we will die. We, the living, gathered in a place reserved for the dead. A day of celebration for the living veterans in a place where we honor those that perished in service. Citizens of Mexico and of the United States gathered peacefully in a place that remembers those that fought in war between Mexico and the United States. Y hoy estamos reunidos en un lugar y en un evento de paradojas y contrastes, el contraste entre los verdes y cafés de la vegetación y los blancos puros de las lápidas, entre los vivos y los muertos, un día de celebración de los veteranos vivos en un lugar de los veteranos caídos, y la paradoja de los ciudadanos de México y Estados Unidos reunidos en paz, hermandad y reconciliación en un lugar que recuerda a los caídos estadounidenses en una guerra lejana entre ambos países. Our celebration and gathering today is focused on celebrating service, generosity, commitment, sacrifice, and love. And this is the contrast and paradox that I want to focus our attention on as we reflect on what it means to be a veteran. Chesterton highlights this paradox when he wrote that courage is almost a contradiction in terms. It means a strong desire to live, taking the form of readiness to die. There is something in us as human beings that is pulled inward towards self-protection, the ego, making things about us. Yet there's also something powerful, a driving force, making things about others, that makes me look beyond myself, finding greater satisfaction and fulfillment in giving and serving and loving and in sacrifice. And we are caught in the middle of this fascinating tension between two natural poles of taking, keeping, and self-preservation, in giving, in caring, and loving. In the art of good loving and living is in the healthy balance of both of these. And we see this in our veterans. Our vision and mission, bigger than the individual, brings them together and creates the strongest of bonds among our veterans. And this happens in any committed relationship, marriage, team, organization, when our eyes and hearts are fixed on each other, but also on something greater. And then the opposite is true in dysfunctional leadership, cultures, and organizations. Happens when visions are distorted, when we are turned inwards, or when our interests are conflicting. And today our focus is on the latter, on giving, serving, generosity, sacrifice, and love. Whether we serve formally in the armed forces or not, in the autumn and winter of our lives, may we all be considered veterans in our ability to give, in our ability to serve, in our ability to sacrifice and to love. Y hoy nos enfocamos en la habilidad del ser humano en dar, servir, ser generoso, la habilidad de sacrificarse y de amar. El sacrificio es el lenguaje del amor, porque cuando quiero algo o alguien estoy dispuesto a sacrificarme por ese algo o alguien. Abraham Lincoln encouraged us to honor the soldier and the sailor everywhere who bravely bears their country's cause, but also to honor the citizens in the fields and workplaces who love and care for their brothers and sisters serving the same cause. And there's something in us that admires and finds inspiration in someone that gives, someone that goes beyond one's limits to sacrifice and to love. Generosity in our lives will always bring clarity. If you want to gain clarity about a decision, about a situation, face it with a generous heart, and clarity will come to you. The greatness of the human spirit, the superpower, is to be able to break the barriers and limits of that interior pull towards oneself and take one step further, lend a hand, go the extra mile, care that much more, and love a little bit better every day. Sacrifice is the language of love and service. And sacrifice for us might sound like a negative word. However, it is ever so positive, coming from the Latin meaning sacro facere, which means to make something sacred, to make something holy, to make something important to me. So that every step that I take to achieve something is a sacrifice, because that is important to me. Everything I do to care for someone or something that is important to me are sacrifices, because that something or that someone is sacred, holy, and important to me. So we cannot underestimate the power of the contrasts that we witness today. In a world where some neighboring countries and people live in conflict, hatred, and fear, and violence, something that is so hard for our human hearts to fathom, we pray and we intensely hope that they can achieve what we witness here today. The greatness of the human spirit, where two countries that were once at war can sit in peace and prayer, ponder our past, learn and grow because of it, and work together for the good of our people and our continent. And for us who live here in peace, we must remember that when dangers and perils are not lurking at our doors, may we never let gratitude and appreciation sleep. And JFK reminds us that as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Words certainly have weight, but most certainly yet when backed with courageous actions in our personal lives and in our leadership, together these words and actions can change lives, can achieve unimaginable goals, and create trust, which is the glue that brings people together. And with that reminder from JFK, let me bring these words to an end so that we can focus on becoming veterans in our ability to give, to serve, to sacrifice, and to love for the greater good of our loved ones, the greater good of our communities, the greater good of our country that we dearly cherish and serve. And I thank you, and may God continue to bless and protect the people of Mexico, the United States, and our veterans.